Are you up for that? Raise your hand. There we go. Let's try it again. And sing loud. Yalla, yalla, la, la, yalla, yalla, la, la, yalla, yalla, la, 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 la. Your turn now.
Yalla, la, 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 la,
There we go.
la.
Here's the second part of the song. La, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Have you got it? Try it. La, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Repeat. Ya, la, la, la. Ya, la, 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 la. Faster now. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, la. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, 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 la. Everyone. Ya, la, la, la. Ya, la, 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 la. Ya, la, la, la. Ya, la, 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 la. Let's hum it together. Ya, la, la, la. That's not quite a hum. Now blow Max a big kiss. 1, 2, 3. Mwah. All of our love, my friend.
If you'll turn to page 5 at the bottom there, you'll find our hymn that welcomes in the Shabbat, this Shabbat of celebration for Max and his family and for our community as well. Page 5, you'll find Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei HaYon, Mimelech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Come on now, let me hear ya. Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni, Barchuni l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Hamlach. Now put your arms around your neighbor and sing and sway. Say, Eitchem l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sing with me. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la. You sound good out there tonight.
We turn back to page 4. There you will find the bracha, the blessing for welcoming in Shabbat with the candles, with Hadlakat Nerot, our lighting of our candles. Ask if you're able to rise as we join together. Page 4 at the bottom.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Together. V'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner. V'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner. V'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner. Shel Shabbat. Turn to your neighbor and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Go ahead. Say Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. It's good to be together.
You are welcome to be seated as well. Max, you want to come and stand by the counter on the other side? You can help out. You'll turn to page 11, Lechun Eranana, our beginning hymn of our Kabbalat Shabbat, as we join together, page 11.
Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana. Try it. Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Lechun Eranana, Eranana, Lechun Eranana. Naria, Lutzur Yishenu, Lekadma Favana Betoda. Naria, Lutzur Yishenu, Besmira Naria Lo. Lechuneranina, 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 Lechuneranina.
Turn over to page 20. There you'll find Romamu towards the end of our psalm of Psalm 99, the ending of our psalm. Exalt Adonai on God's holy mountain, the imagery of God raising our spirits up and raising our spirits up to God. That's the theme really of those words as we join together. Page 20.
Start the beat with me. I need you with me. There you go. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Give me a good key. Key.
Key.
Key.
Key.
Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Faster now with me. Ki.
Key.
Ki.
Key.
Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Here we go. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Ki. Ki. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Can you keep up with me? Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Slow it down one last time. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho.
Wow, I think that's pretty good ruach, pretty good spirit going. You'll turn over to page 21. There you'll find the 29th Psalm. We rise as we join together.
Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Chavu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai b'chadra kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, vayishaber Adonai et harei halvanon, vayarkitem kemo egel, Lebanon v'Sirion, kemo ven remim, kemo ven remim. Kol Adonai chutzev lavodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el hayalot, vayechesov ye'arot uveichalo, kulo omer kavod, kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabuya shava yeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai os yamo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Yeshkoach. You may be seated. You'll find on page 23, Lecha Dodi, our hymn that welcomes in the Shabbat bride or queen. Canner, which ones are we going to be doing today?
We're going to be doing the one from Spain. How many are descendants of Spain? That many. Now, many of you will probably recognize the tune, but because it was made famous by a Moroccan Sephardic cantor, Ben Susan, in Canada. Anybody from Canada?
Aha, we've got Canadians
Very
anyway.
good.
Which verses are we going to do?
1, 2, last 2?
1, 2, and last. Okay, so first 2 and last 2 on page 23. You'll find the first 2, the last 2 over on page 25. When we get to that last one, I'll give you the signal to face, to rise, and we have the custom of facing the door. Just as the mystics did, they would go out and welcome in Shabbat as a bride or queen into their midst. We do the same thing. We'll rise, we'll face the door, we'll wave at the ushers behind. There they are. But we will welcome in our Shabbat queen, our Shabbat bride into our midst as well, just again as those mystics did. So page 23.
Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Likerat Shabbat v'chuvenecha, Ki mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'mashpat chiyah. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat,
Nekabela. Middle of 25, Yamin.
Yamin u'smol tifrotzi,
V'et Adonai
ta'aritzi
al
yadish ben parsi, v'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, B'nei Shabbat.
We rise as we face the door.
Oh, Shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula, bo'wi chala lecha dodi, likerat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lecha dodi, likerat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Faster, lecha dodi, likerat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lecha dodi, likerat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela.
You are welcome to be seated. You turn over to page 27. There you'll find the Psalm for Shabbat as we join together.
Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Try it. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir. Shir liyom haShabbat, mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat.
We conclude the psalm on page 28 by the little caret, the little red triangle, tzaddik katamar, the righteous flourish like a date palm and thrive like the cedars of Lebanon. Middle of 28.
Tzaddik katamar yifrach, Keres balvanon yizkeh, shetulim v'in Adonai, v'chatrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Seval shinim rananim yiyu, lehagid Yashav Adonai tzuri v'lo avlata bo.
On page 30, you'll find Kaddish Tom, our Mourner's Kaddish. Those reciting Mourner's Kaddish, if you will rise and join with me again, we're on page 30. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. Bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. You are welcome to be seated. Max, you can take a quick seat as well for just a few minutes, because I'm going to give them a little preview of what you're going to be doing tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. Because this week's parashah, what is the name of the portion this week, Max? Very good. You are now a bar mitzvah. No, just kidding. Sorry, you got things to do tomorrow. With this week's parashah of Lech Lecha, we begin to study the history not of humanity alone, but of Judaism. So we begin this narrative with Abraham, and who of course is the descendant of Noah, who is told by God the following: Lech lecha, go, leave your home, your family, your community, and set out on a journey to a special land which I will show you, a land which I will promise to your descendants. You'll be a great nation, as mighty as the stars of the sky and the sands of the sea, and as numerous as the dust of the earth. We all know that, of course, Abraham heeds this call from God, and he and Sarah pack up their belongings and their household, and they set out to this unknown place with God as their guide. So a question, of course, arises amongst those of us who read the text, but certainly from our rabbis and our ancient sages. Anybody ever wonder, why does God choose Abraham? Why does he choose it? What's so special about Abraham that he will be called upon to be the father of a new nation and thus be endowed with a world-transforming mission? If you look in the Bible, if you look in the Torah, we have no other background or information about Abraham to this point. We know nothing about him. Even in the case of Noah, last week we learned, the text told us that he was considered righteous among a sea of wickedness in his generation, and thus that's why God selected him for the task of building the ark and beginning humanity again. But of Abraham, all we know is that he was 10 generations removed from Noah. On Abraham, the text is initially silent. So as you'll see when we get to the portion tomorrow, you can look at the beginning, you can look right now, you won't find anything, at least not in the text itself. Of course, the rabbis then are curious, and they seek to give us an explanation in a number of wonderful midrashim. And I'll share one of them with you. It's a story that has become so popular that it is often taught as if it were part of the biblical text itself, and once I tell it, you're going to go, wait, I thought that was in the Torah. Growing up, I thought it was in the Torah as well. It's the famous midrash where Terach. Who's Terach? Who knows Terach? Do we know who Terach is? Which one? Good man. Terach is the father, in this case, of Abraham. And Terach is an idol worshiper, according to the midrash, according to the rabbinic commentary, as were the peoples of the land, of course we know. And in fact, Terach was actually an idol maker. He owns a shop at which local residents purchase idols. That's his job. One day, Terach leaves a young Abraham in charge of the store. Abraham's skepticism, including his wonder about these idols, seems to have gotten the best of him. And what does he do? Those of you know the story, what does he do? He takes a stick, a baseball bat. I don't think there were any baseball bats back then, but you get the idea, right? He takes a big stick, and he smashes all the idols, except for the largest one. And what does he do? He places this axe, this weapon, and he places it in the hand of the largest idol. So when Terach returns, he finds his store, of course, in shambles, and he questions his son. He left his kid to man the store, and look what happened. Abraham explains that the large idol had become infuriated with the smaller ones over some food, and he picked up an axe and he destroyed all the other ones. Pretty clever, right? Enraged, Terach yells at his son, "Stop lying to me. You know these idols can't walk or talk or move. They have no soul or spirit. They're made of wood and stone. If they can't protect themselves," Abraham responds, "then how can you worship these idols and pray to them to protect you?" According to the epilogue of the story, Terach, Abraham's own father, takes him to the local king to be burned. But God, in the end, saves Abraham from death. It's a wonderful midrash, and it gives us an incredible picture of the cleverness of our patriarch. He taught his father, he taught his Abba a lesson, right? Here, the big guy did it. Come on, Abraham, you know these guys don't do anything. They're stone and wood. Aha, Abba. Yes, Dad, that's exactly right. It seems that in a world crowded with a multiplicity of deities, in a community and even a home in which idol worship was the norm, here comes this young man, Abraham. He steps forward to express his beliefs and some very different views about the existence of God. He made the startling declaration that there is only a single God in the entire universe, one creator of all things and all humanity. Abraham's thoughts struck at the very heart of his family's and his community's most cherished ideals. What was his own father was an idol maker, an idol worshiper. But it was Abraham's creative thinking that became a threat to those around him. And obviously it took as much physical courage as it required intellectual daring for Abraham to proclaim his iconoclastic idea to be an idol breaker in the home of an idol maker. It seems that in the end, God did not choose Abraham, but Abraham really chose God. When Albert Einstein was asked how he made his startling discovery of the theory of relativity, he answered very simply, "I challenged an axiom." In simple terms, Professor Einstein decided to look at the universe in a way that no one else had done before. The Torah refers to Abraham as Ha-Ivri, which we generally translate as Hebrew, the Hebrew, right? Abraham the Hebrew. Our sages tell us, though, that Ivri comes from the root avar. What does avar mean? Avar means on the other side. In the time of Abraham, all the world was arranged on one side, if you will, while Abraham found himself standing on the other side. Abraham, like Einstein after him, and all creative thinkers that follow, decided to look at the universe in a way that no one had seen it before. And as a result, through courage and with spirit, he found God, and God found him. We know that to be a Jew requires the ability to see the world from a fresh perspective, to have the courage to have minority beliefs, to belong to a group that is smaller than most others, to espouse minority doctrines. It was this persistence, this persistent ability to think differently, to challenge the status quo and existing axioms that have fundamentally changed the world, and I would argue that enriched it for the better. So as we celebrate Max becoming a bar mitzvah, we celebrate the fact that he has now become a link in this chain of this unique tradition that we all hold. Max now takes on the challenge of looking at the world with new eyes, of thinking creatively and questioning what is in an effort to make better what can be. And that's what Abraham did so many generations ago. Our wonderful heritage began with one man who was willing to look at the world from a very different perspective. And as Jews, and in particular as conservative Jews, as a conservative congregation, we too, as Max will do, must constantly challenge ourselves and others to see life through a new perspective, for one that's constantly changing. It is a task that we accept for ourselves, and we walk away from some of our notions perhaps that we've held throughout our entire life, and it causes us sometimes to try to see life certainly from a different point of view. So I pray as we go through this Shabbat of Lech Lecha, as we study the story of Abraham, as we see him in the Torah, and as we see him through the eyes of the rabbis and our sages, may we always seek to follow that path that Abraham set for us, that Sarah set for us, and create a new path for others to follow as well. Shabbat Shalom. We move into the evening service, our service that welcomes in the night. Of course, here's a way to think differently. When do we as Jews start a new day? Strangely, as the sun goes down. Not when the sun comes up, but when the sun goes down. We welcome in a new day. Hence, all of our holidays, including our Sabbath, begin as the evening dusk comes. And you'll see that reflected in the liturgy of our evening service. It begins with the reminder of creation, certainly a call to worship, and the bracha after is a reminder of creation and the evening light. And we will then add later a blessing for that evening, for protection as the day physically ends, the light ends, and as we anticipate a new tomorrow. So page 39A, you will find the beginning of the Mariv service. I'll ask if you're able to rise as Cantor Ken, along with help from Max, lead us through the evening service. 39A, we rise.
Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
You are welcome to be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
U'mahavir yom v'layla, mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Elechai v'kayam, Tamid yimachaleinu le'olam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarif
Amen. Page 40, you'll find Ahavat Olam as we join together. Page 40.
Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla, v'yahavatecha, al tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai. Ohev amo Yisrael.
Page 41, you'll find the Shema as Max leads us.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shiftecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shochtecha u'kumecha u'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktaftam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha.
We read together in the English, the middle of 41, the B'Ahavta together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We continue over on page 44. The bolded words, Mi Chamocha, was recited and sung as the Israelites crossed the Red Sea in celebration of their freedom, invoking God's mightiness in the gift of freedom. Page 44.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, malchutecha ra'u vanecha. Yam lifnei Moshe, Seili anu ve'ameru, Adonai meloch le'olam vaed, v'ne'emar, ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, u'yalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 45, you'll find the bracha, the second bracha after the Shema. This is our Hashkivenu prayer, our prayer that asks for God to watch over us as we sleep and help us awaken to a brighter tomorrow. Page 45, we read together in the English on the left side. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Amen. 45 on the right side in the Hebrew.
Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, Baruch atah Adonai. Haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Page 46, you'll find Vishamra, we rise as we join together, reminding ourselves that our covenant is affirmed with God through the celebration, the observance, the guarding of Shabbat. Page 46.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We remain standing for Chatzi Kaddish, the middle of 46.
Yikada v'yikada Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'amadiv l'achirutei v'yamlech malhutei b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael bagala bagala u'bizman kariv v'meru amen. Ye'esh Shmei Rabbah Yitnase, Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitala, Shemay de Kusha, Berichu, Leila, Miko, Birchata, Vishirata, Tushbechata, Venechemata, Damiran Be'alma, Imeru,
Amen. You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening beginning on pages 47 through 52. Feel free to add your own personal thoughts and meditations to the words on the page, and when you're through, you are welcome to be seated. Page 47, silent Amidah. The final blessing of our Amidah, whether it's on Shabbat or even during the weekly, regular day, is a blessing for shalom, a blessing for peace, for bringing all of the pieces, the various pieces of the world together in one whole, in one piece, we hope. So Max leads us on page 52, the last two lines. You'll find the words Oseh Shalom as he sings.
Shalom bimroma, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. V'meru,
Amen. If you'll turn forward in your Siddur to page 173, as I mentioned earlier, we're taught to add our own personal thoughts and meditations to the matbeah, to the regular flow of the Amidah. And we do this here in our congregation by adding special prayers for healing at this point in the service. On page 173, you'll see our Misha Berach, written by Debbie Friedman, our prayer for strength and to bless the ones who need it, who need spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing as well. We join together on page 173 at the left.
Mekor habracha lipoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabeach limotenu, Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Refuah Shalema. If you'll turn back to page 54, there you'll find Kaddish Shalem as Max and Cantor lead us. 54.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalmad divrei chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaydecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yeheshmei Rabbah.
Mevorach le'olam olam le'olam yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipuar v'yitroman v'yidnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalah. Shmei l'kudisha b'richu. Li'ela min kol b'rchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nichavata. Damiran be'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Yitabel tzlaoton uvaoton d'chol Yisrael. Kodam avon v'shemaya v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim alinu v'yalchol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Ose shalom bihim romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru. Amen, amen. Ose shalom bihim romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru. Amen.
You'll turn to page 55. You see I've handed over the cups. We certainly, every Shabbat, we toast Shabbat. We toast the sweetness that Shabbat brings us. And of course, tonight we add to our Kiddush for Shabbat the sweetness that Max adds to our experience and our lives here as a congregation as he becomes a bar mitzvah. page 55, we rise as we join in Kiddush for Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadisho b'yahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'masei v'reshit ki hu yom dechilo למקראי קודש זכר יציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת אותנו קידשת מקרובים בשבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. L'chaim. We remain standing as we turn over to page 56 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ ומשה עיקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת זו בגופי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אמת מלכנו אפס סגולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל הארץ ועל הארץ מתחתינו. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You are welcome to be seated. As we turn over to page 58, there you'll find Kadisha Tomer, Mourner's Kaddish. And as we recite Mourner's Kaddish this evening, we continue to give our hugs of support in memory of Ruth Friedberg, Carolyn Devon, Edwin Shapiro, and Cynthia Schulman. We also mention the names of those whose yortzites occur today and in the week that is coming Ann Siegeloff, Sidney Stallman, Samuel Friedberg, Lee Noble, Barbara Thumb, Geneva Armold, David Bykoff, Lawrence Feldman, Ronald Kamen, Patricia Rail, Harry Siegel, Gerald Jerry Sigmund, Dora Hahn Adler, Ray Luff, Faye Richmond, Nathan Hendel, Rita Simon, Mitzi F. Efron, Ben Lionel, Stephen Andrew Gosson, Doris Savin, and Max Stuhl. Those reciting Kadisha Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, if you'll turn over to page 58 and rise and join with me. Again, 58. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'yalma divrach Yirutei v'yamlich Malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. You may be seated. Before we conclude our service this evening, we want to just give you a few announcements. You'll hear more of these tomorrow, but I'll hit the highlights. Don't forget, we do have morning minyan here each day at 7:30 in the morning on weekdays, Sundays at 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning is at 9:15. We will start promptly. We have a lot to celebrate, a lot to do, and we look forward to Mac's further participation and family and all of your friends who are here to give you that love that we sang about earlier, and I hope you'll join us then. So also just a few brief announcements. Prayer of the Heart is Cantor Ken's new class. It's actually started on this past Wednesday. It's also this Wednesday, the 20th, and again the 27th and November 3rd, 6:15 on Zoom. You can explore our inspiring prayer book, learn how to participate more easily at synagogue services. Just RSVP to Jessica in the office or the RSVP link, or call in if you need, and we can make sure you get the Zoom link for it. Those of you who are regulars here, we are beginning Hebrew level 2, sort of level 2. It's kind of introductory level 2 still. It's a continuation with Judy Helbon from last spring, beginning this coming Thursday night at 6:30 on Zoom. So you are welcome to join us for that. Learn the basics of the alphabet and Hebrew reading. Again, it's a continuation of our beginner Hebrew from last spring. And I know some of you actually are in here who have done that and continue forward. Yeah, I know. And Anna's she's ready. She's ready to keep going. But anyone is welcome to join. So you certainly can see if it works for you. Come join us, and we can get you the link again. And then if you really are an early bird, Canna, are you doing this tomorrow morning? Okay, 8. Well, I have 8:15. You want 8:30 or 8:15? 8:15, even better. For you early birds, I'm just getting out of bed at that hour, but 8:15, Saturday morning, if you're here and you're visiting and you've already eaten breakfast and you are ready and raring to go, come join us here 8:15 before Shabbat services. Learn the time-honored skill of chanting from the Torah and Haftarah at your comfort and pace. No musical or Hebraic experience necessary. I don't think the gate will be quite open at that hour yet, so you might have to come. You're going to unlock it? Cantor's going to unlock it, so you can come to the front gate, come in through, and come join him. It's called Take a Chance, C-H-A-N-T-S, chance. Got it? Clever. He's clever. He's very clever. So come join if you would like, and you can get a taste of a little Torah reading. And then we have lots of things going on for our social groups coming up in the next few days, so you can look at your weekly email for that. And if you're interested in continuing to sing, our adult choir meets here on Sunday mornings. And for those of you, still have a few outstanding machzorim that were not turned back from the High Holy Days. Would love to get all of those back. Presumably, we will not need to dole them out again next year. We will be, God willing, here, all of us together in the sanctuary. So please bring those back as well. I think that is the highlights. There will be Torah talk tomorrow afternoon after the Kiddush lunch. It may be a little bit late, but it's a fantastic parsha. We're going to study Lech Lecha, so you're welcome to stay after and join with me after you've had a chance to get a little bit of a nosh. We'll scurry away to the library as we usually do, and we'll study a little Torah together in the afternoon, just a brief session, but we will have some fun with that. So we will conclude this evening as I want to thank our ushers. It looks like, our usher, thank you, Jody, for being our usher this evening. Phil is pointing to you, and you're pointing to Phil, so I know. So the two of you are tag teaming, but we thank you for doing that for us. And again, a thank you to the Himmelstein family for allowing us to celebrate with you this wonderful occasion together. So page 211, we're going to do Adon Olam. Wonderful. So page 211, you will find the concluding part of our service as, yes, that little, what are you doing? Don't do that. Come over here. Page 211, you'll find the conclusion of our service with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam asher mala beter ben kol yisir nivra le'et nasa v'chefso kol asar melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kiklot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh betifara ve'hu echad ve'en sheni lehamshir lo lechabricha ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit ve'lo hayot ve'am Yisrael ve'hu eli ve'chai goali ve'tzor hevli ve'etzara ve'hu nisi umanos li ve'nat kosi ve'yom ekra ve'ado afid ruchi ve'tishan ve'ayira ve'im ruchi ve'viati Madonai li ve'lo yira.
Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yesher Koach, Mazel Tov, and may the force be with you.